Perfect. So I'll go ahead and start with the two comments that we had in the Facebook group, and then we'll hop down the questions in the chat. So the first one was, when sending a quote, how do you delete the docs that have already been uploaded from Lauren? Which docs are you talking about?
So in our quote, we have linked it to documents that we've uploaded.
Where do you link that? Like, where are they uploaded to?
That's what I don't know.
Okay.
Hey, Lauren, did you submit a ticket about this?
I did.
Alvin just responded to you 4 minutes ago with a video on it. So that might help.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, I will hold off on that one because I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about. So we'll hold off on that one and see if we need any further explanation from Alvin.
Okay, thank you.
And then the second one was, is it possible to get a map quest of the cleaner's home address to go to their first job?
I thought y'all talked about this last week where y'all were in the process of doing this, but then when I asked Alvin, he wasn't sure.
Yes, so this is actually coming out this week.
Yes. So
from what I understand, I've been out of town as you know, but from what I understand, this is coming out on Thursday.
So if we put the cleaner's address, home address in there, instead of doing it from our office, it will give us the mileage and drive time from their home address, correct?
Yes, I don't have the videos on this yet, and I've been busy since I got back into it, so I haven't looked into it so much to see exactly how this is all working, but I think it's at the team level that you'll be adding an address. Is that correct? For anybody that was around for that call?
Yeah. So you'll be able to like calculate mileage for whoever the technician is, and there's like different columns and there's a bunch of different stuff. That it's a really big build and a lot of new stuff coming out. We're going to be making a lot of good content on everything. So we should have more information on it. It's supposed to come out Thursday. We might push it back a little bit just to make sure we have good resources on it. But yes, Lauren, this is part of it. Like your question will be.
For adequate expectations, it will be ready by Monday. Just to give us enough time, just in case. But I like to give realistic expectations.
I was just sorry to interrupt, but just a quick point. If you go to the .net site, you might be able to see this.
Whoops.
I'm not sure how far, this was not ready as of yesterday, but he was working on it actively while we were discussing this on the design meeting. I think it was very close. I was watching the live stream and I saw this question pop up and I thought I would jump in.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So there's some cool things. We've got the offices is coming out. I'm going to click on this and see if it does something good. Cool. So if you have multiple offices, you're able to do different addresses and locations.
Team mileage, I think, had the
yeah.
Oh, these are so cool. Okay, sorry. This build this week is gigantic, guys. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I've got a bounce, I've got a demo, but I thought I would see if this was helpful for people.
I'm here, sorry.
That load time on the .net site, but
the .net site's not very given a lot of love as far as bandwidth goes. So
no, it's not. It's last on the totem pole.
Let's see. Let's scroll. Yep, there it is. There is the pick the person. And now I don't know if the last thing where it comes up with a total like so it's not quite done yet where it's coming up with a multiplier by what your rate is for miles. So
yeah,
it's not quite done, looks like, yet. So it's still so this one's going to the wire. So
but we are able to see this is going to be one of those updates where we're going to show, where's one that has it? office, home. Okay, so here's one. Poor Steve Tyler has to drive 224 miles to get to his first house, but you're able to see where the home is.
He must
And,
get some good mileage.
Yeah, he's got a personal jet.
This is an interesting feature too, not just for like figuring out their mileage, but also creating density around where they live. And like, so there'll be a pin drop where you see where he lives over there in Fairfax. So there'll be a pin drop. So you'll be able to see all the jobs in relation to their home pin drop as well. So this is a pretty cool feature for people that do solos and are really concerned about, giving them homes close to where they live.
Yeah, so this is super exciting. We've got some really cool things coming up directly related to this. So you'll be able to see their time to first job and from their house and back home as well. That's not being included in their total drive time and distance, but you're at least able to see how far they are from their jobs that they're going to. And then the team mileage report is also getting updated to be able to add additional pays by assigning them by day. So the same way that the PTO works. So some really, really awesome things coming out this week directly related to that.
Do you
And
know
oh.
if that calculates if there's traffic?
It does not.
It does
Okay.
not.
Okay.
It does. It doesn't. I think we've just posted something about that, right? About the how it's calculated.
Yeah, basically Google's API can't calculate traffic because of like 14 bajillion different reasons with like live data and how it's calculated. That's the simplest way to put it. Is it's a limitation of Google's API, but really it's just because Google's like Gmap, like the maps is so complicated.
If you wanted to get it with, like, if you pulled it up, like if you were trying to view it as a technician and pulled up the mapping from the technician view, that might, I don't know for sure, that might actually be calculating drive time in it, because that's basically as if it's on a mobile device now in their maps. So I do believe it when it's in their device, it is calculating traffic for them, what they see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's because
during
it's
the
a
live
different.
time.
Yeah, it's like a different API that uses that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna work through the chat here. All right, where do you post checks? MaidCentral or QuickBooks? Perfect. Let's start there. So you can actually do this in MaidCentral, and you can do it in a couple of different places. You can do it directly in the customer page. So customer comes in, check gets mailed in, and you get the check, and you just search for the customer. You can do it from there. I'll show kind of both of these, or both options. The other option is an open invoices. This is where any invoices that haven't been processed will show up. So you can open the invoice directly here. So this one's a check one. So I'm actually just going to go directly to the invoice and post payment. And then the reference number can be, like the check number, and your method is check. And you'll just submit that, and that will put it both in QuickBooks and in your MaidCentral for you. And then processing declined cards, same thing. From open invoices, if they've got a declined credit card, you can run it again. So this one doesn't have a credit card in here. So but you'll have this option of charging the card directly from the invoice as well. Are you talking to me, Keith? You're muted.
Okay, on a credit card, doesn't it validate the credit card when you enter it?
Yes, it just makes sure that it's a real credit card, correct?
Okay. You entered one, a fake one, I guess. I was
Well,
just wondering.
this is our credit card system is connected to a test environment. So we have a test credit card
Oh,
number
okay.
that we're allowed to enter. So
Okay.
yes, we have a fake number.
It's
that
a
we
real
use.
test card.
It's a real test card. Yeah, it's a real fake card.
Oh, it is.
So it
Okay.
validated our real fake card, our
Okay.
fake card as real
All right.
because we have it entered as being able to be used as a real card, even though
Okay.
it's not
All
actually.
right, we can move on now.
Sorry, yes.
That's
No,
all
that
right.
one is our real fake card within the MC Cleaners test environment. Refund a customer for deposit process but didn't clean. That would need to be done through your credit card processor. That doesn't, refunds
Otherwise-
don't happen through MaidCentral.
Okay, so I need to, so the problem is that I don't have direct
Here, here.
access to the credit card number. Because of how our credit card numbers are put in, I can't see the number, so I can't run it through authorized.net.
You can,
So you should be able to look at the past transactions, look at that
Okay.
transaction for the deposit, and under the deposit, you're able to choose refund, I believe, and you're able to pick the refund amount, whether it's a full refund or a partial refund in authorized.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry.
and then we have to
I'm thinking of
manually
something else.
update. We have to manually update QuickBooks after that, then, right? Because they're going to
Correct.
show
So
credit
Yeah,
balance of whatever it is, and then whatever we refund them, it's got to go. We have to go into QuickBooks and post it.
yep, so in QuickBooks, you would just add another payment that would be negative for it
Gotcha.
essentially as a refund.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then we have some pending declines in our old system. And what I did for one, it's the same customer twice. So it's, I went in and I went back to the one day that she declined and I created an invoice and ran her credit card for just that separate one. But because we didn't have tax set up on it yet, it didn't capture it for tax. So then I did it that way, but I got the money because I did it through MaidCentral. But then the second one, because I wanted to get tax, I went through QuickBooks with it, but now I can't process the credit card. I have a pending invoice on QuickBooks for her, but I don't have payment and I don't know how to get payment from it.
Go to her account. It should be reading that invoice into MaidCentral.
No, they're gonna have a line here that says this invoice wasn't created within MaidCentral and.
Yes, that's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so
So-
you might have to go to authorized.net and then you can do a search for that customer in authorized.net, either via their last
Yeah,
name.
we can run it through there.
You have to do an advanced search though. So go into authorized.net and
Okay.
normally there's a search bar that says like a couple of items, like what their token number is or their whatever. So things that you probably have no idea what they are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as another choice, there's a button that says advanced search. And advanced search allows you to search by things that you probably know about them, like their email address or
Okay.
their first and last name and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can find their token and charge their card directly through Authorize in those instances.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And then we'll have to, this is a transition thing because it's not going to happen again, but we'd have to go into QuickBooks and actually, if you change something in QuickBooks, does it automatically change it in MaidCentral?
Yes.
So if we showed collecting it, we're transferring balances. We have people that owe us money now. So we're adding invoices into MaidCentral so we can bill them this month. And
That's
so, yeah. So in this case, it was a different situation.
But
So-
it'll be the same process just for those already existing past due invoices before MaidCentral. And then
Yeah.
you can create the invoice in QuickBooks, charge it in Authorize and mark it as paid in QuickBooks, and that will still show up in MaidCentral. So
Oh, well, okay, all right.
yeah, so if you want to predate them or post date them as whatever date that job actually was, it will show up in the correct order as something that existed before
Okay.
MaidCentral.
All right. Hopefully this will never happen again, but
Yeah.
we got to get these taken care of.
The next question was how to set up factors on the question for number of people. So it'll add 5 minutes per person over 3 people. This sounds like a math problem that I absolutely love. So let me show you how to do this.
It's calculated as 20 minutes instead of 5 minutes.
Yep.
So
So this is your option. So how many people in your household? This is like this is like how many cabbages does he have if he's going 30 miles per hour? I don't know. That's what that sounds like to me. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Okay. So the option here is the best way to do this, and unfortunately it's not like, there isn't logic behind it to say, if it's over 3, do this. So you're going to be able to set it up kind of separately. So add a fixed rate of time is going to be your option. You save
I
that.
tried everything but that.
And then under factors, you're going to have 0 to 3 will be 0. 4 to 4. What is your hourly rate? Is it 60?
60.
So you'll just add 5.
Yeah.
And then, so you'll just, I mean, hopefully there are people more than
5 to 5. Yeah, 5.
High.
Yeah.
So it'll just be like this.
Okay. I tried everything except the fixed, and I just could not, fixed did not make sense to me, but anyways.
Yep, that's what it is. I know.
Okay, I'll fix it.
So just like that, and you can continue adding them up to however many you want.
Yep.
I come from a family of 7, so I get it.
Go ahead, sir. I did too.
All right. It looks like Austin answered the next one about texts and emails.
Can you send text and emails both?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Okay, because only our emails are sending.
And well, I think we
Yeah,
had both factors checked.
No, they were only one was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. That's what
I
Austin
didn't
said
see
in the
that.
chat.
No.
Yeah, so you can see all that. If you open up a client's account from the client account level, you'll go to the contacts and notifications tab,
Okay.
and you'll be able to see the contacts there in blue hyperlink text. And right below that, you'll see all the notifications that are set up for that account.
Okay.
When we imported, we did a 3-day reminder email, but we opted for no text. I do remember that. And then
I don't.
Why? I think it was supposed to be the opposite.
yeah, it was the opposite.
It
But we
should have
can,
been the opposite.
okay.
So
Well,
do
we
I have
can
to go in
add-
and individually do that to every single customer?
No, I
Okay,
can do
good.
that en masse for you. So you want a 1-day
would be
reminder
great.
text and a 3-day reminder text.
I don't
for all
want a
clients.
1-day reminder text. I only want a 3-day reminder text.
Perfect.
We want some get email too.
Well, an email, I'm fine with
Well,
email, but
Yeah,
no
that was what we
1-day,
originally
because
imported.
then they think that
No,
they
I know.
can
We don't want the
cancel.
1 day. We just want the 3 day.
Yeah, we just have a 3-day email, but I think we
Gotcha,
just
yeah.
opted for no text when we started. So
Yeah. Don't remember, a lot of water under the bridge since then.
cool. Well, they are already on your account, so you should be good to go now.
Oh, good. Okay.
The next
Mhm.
question was, I just found 20 unpaid invoices that were kicked out by Authorize.net as possible fraud all the way back to May, yet MaidCentral and QuickBooks show the invoices paid. Is there any way for MaidCentral to catch that and show it as open? Unfortunately, no, not. So what happens in that process is that originally Authorize had sent back that it went through, but then during the Authorize process of fraud, it kicked it as, after it sent it as paid to MaidCentral, that's all MaidCentral captured, was that it was paid. There isn't any sort of continuous checking to make sure that that payment stayed a payment. Once it's told that it's a payment or not a payment, it doesn't check it again. There are some settings in Authorize to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And the way to do that, there are, I would need to, I don't know if I have a Sandbox account right now for Authorize. Austin, do you have that?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Or check
That'd be
that
the
out.
same thing as a chargeback,
I'm not sure. I don't use
where
that
it ran it through and then I think a fraud alert happens immediately though. So, but it should show as rejected. I got one today. I think.
So what I'm assuming is happening is that it's a throttle fraud, is saying that too many transactions are happening per minute or per hour. or something like that if it was accidentally set to a small number like 10 per minute.
Yeah, that's what
because we
happened,
charge-
Aja. It was automatically set to 10 unbeknownst to me. So so it was set to where more than 10 transactions from my IP address in a day was supposed to kick them out as fraud. And I had no idea it was set like that.
Yeah, so once that's not set, you're able to fix it, but there isn't anything. I'm not sure. I'll ask to double check how that happens. But I'm pretty sure it's because MaidCentral is told that it was paid, and then the fraud thing happens later. It happens after it has responded to MaidCentral as paid. So there isn't any additional check on that. You know, once it's said it's paid or not paid, that's all that MaidCentral cares about, or currently cares about. But I'll ask about if there's any other information that we have around that. Once it's updated, it won't happen again. Same thing happened to me, so I totally feel ya. And I don't think there's anything else that we're able to do.
I think you could probably catch this, Aja. I think you could catch it because what we do is we balance whatever we processed with the email we get from authorized.net every morning. So there would be a difference in there. So we'd have to go in there and find out what it is, which one showed going through, but it actually didn't go to the bank.
And that's where I'm a little frustrated too, because I'm paying a bookkeeper $750 a month to reconcile things, and they never caught this. I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
Yeah, I would be too.
There's a good article that Austin put in the chat, Pam, as well around this. I'm not sure if it helps considering you know what the issue is now, but it looks like because the transaction is labeled as on hold, it's considered a success in authorized.net, and that's what it tells MaidCentral that it's being held, even though it's being held for review. So it's told us that it's successful. MaidCentral doesn't know that it was put on hold. So that's why it's showing up that way. Sorry about that. I feel
So maybe
I know. I think my bookkeeper should have caught it. That's why I'm so aggravated at this point.
Yeah, they should have. I'm sorry.
So maybe the authorized.net email that confirms what we got is actually balances with MaidCentral, but that might not be what went to the bank. So I guess that's where the issue. So you almost have to check it with the bank every day to see if it went through.
There's a couple of different settings that you can do in authorized as far as if it emails you around reviews and holds. So I would probably turn those on just in case, so that it gives you an email if something does get put on review or on hold, because it won't be notified to MaidCentral. That is not something that is sent back to
We do
MaidCentral.
that just in case.
So just turn on those emails for those notifications so that you're able to get them.
And that's an authorized.net.
Yeah, that's an authorized.
So is there something in authorized.net that says, you have so many transactions to go through before it?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
Sorry,
you
what
don't
was
get that until.
Well, I mean, if we're processing 30 credit cards every day and all of a sudden I start processing 34.
I just turn off that review. So there's I think 4 or 5 different things that you can look at when processing through authorized. One of them is number per minute, number per day, what information has to be available to verify that card, and I think one other one. So you can choose all your settings, like individualize all those settings for each one, and then also show, what do you want to do with those ones that come up? Do you want to just flag it and notify you, but allow it to go through? Do you want to stop it from going through? Like, you can choose all of that within there.
Okay.
All right. So is there a way to get the docs uploaded besides acting like we are sending a quote? I need to know what docs you're talking about, Lauren.
The one that I originally asked the question that Alvin sent me the email on how to delete them, but can I only go to those docs via a quote? Like if I don't have any quotes to send out and I want to delete.
So are they notes? Are they?
No. So like when we send a quote, we send the description of a deep clean as well as reoccurring services, right? Well, sometimes when we've sent those we've customized those deep cleans to that particular customer. And we're trying to make it to where ultimately we have a set one for deep clean, a set one for basic clean. So what I'm asking is there any other way of getting to them besides I'm about to send a quote and getting to it that way? Does that make sense?
So like the one in your, so I'm confused.
Let me get this right.
Yeah,
Let me ask you this, Lauren. So what I'm getting from this is you are sending a quote, and during that process, when you're about to send the quote, you customize that quote just a little bit for a deep clean or for a different type of clean, and then you send that out, and you want to know if you could have easy access to that deep clean or whatever the other service is for later, instead of having to customize the quote at the very end and change it. Yes, there is 100%. That's just going to be part of your quoting tool configuration. And we're going to build in those different services into your quoting tool so that if people want those different services, we're going to already have those prices built into the system ready for them. You shouldn't have to customize the quote at the end of every quote to get it to look how you want. That should all be part of the process of building the quoting tool to get it to spit out the numbers you want it to spit out. So if that's something that you guys want some help on, we can absolutely schedule some time to configure that in a way that's going to suit you and your business a little better. In the meantime,
but it's nothing to do with the numbers. It's specifically just a document. So we have the
So do you have it as a link in the in your
yes,
template?
yes. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm probably saying it incorrectly. The link. So when we go to the link and we try to upload this deep cleaning document to the link, it automatically is there every time we go. And so it might be a
So your
specific link.
template, it sounds like you're talking about your template, right?
No,
Like when you're sending your
it's
quote,
not
you have a link in your quote,
yes.
in your quote template that is to your
That
to
we've
your description.
right.
Okay. Is that like a PDF that's posted on your website or something?
No, it is a PDF off of our computer, off of a, that we did from a Word document.
Okay. So you're just doing
Right. So it's not in it's not a template. It's a link to like a Word document that we've made into a PDF.
but is the
so they're not going to be able to access that because it's not
A template.
because it's
well,
yeah.
where is
So,
the link? Are we putting the link in a template?
Yes.
Okay. So-
can you copy the link into the chat here?
The URL is what you're asking, correct?
Yep. So whatever you're putting into the thing, how are you putting it in? I need to see because I think
I mean, that's the back end. On the front end, it just says, well, that's one of them. Sorry. That's the wrong one too. On the front end, it just says, okay, here's one. Let me do this one. Basic cleaning. Basic reoccurring cleaning.
okay, so it's downloading it. Okay, so it comes up as a Word document download. My recommendation would be to save this as a PDF and host it on your website on a page that isn't part of your sitemap. That would be my recommendation, and then add that link to your template so that you're not putting it in every time. Otherwise, I don't think, yeah, that would be the way that I would do it.
I see.
That would be my recommendation.
Now, question on that, because I had asked this when I first learned about the quoting tool. So, and you had told me, because ultimately I get what you're saying. I think we would still have to upload it each time, because if we're sending an office quote, I don't want the link from our website for a deep clean.
I would have all three of them in the template, and then you
Okay.
can delete out the two that you don't want or the one that you don't want or whatever. But I would have all three of them as part of your template. Worst case scenario, they get more information about a service that they don't want, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
More information isn't a bad thing. It just lets them know that they're choosing the right option. So if you ever do forget to delete it out, but this way you know that it's in there no matter what. And you can also add it on your quoting tool in your marketing text, which I highly recommend, where you can have a link to those different options within your scope group marketing text. So you could put the link into what other, to that PDF, so you could have more information about each type of service directly from your quoting tool as well. So that would be my recommendation 100%. I think that you're on the right path. I think just instead of having it be something that you're adding in every single time, it's already just part of your template. And then all you have to do is update it on your website. And it doesn't have to be a hosted, like a page that's part of your sitemap. It could be, but I've used this actually internally too for like employee reviews. I have a review document that's hosted as a PDF on the website, and then I just send that link to them. And if I need to update the document, I can update the document, but it's not, nobody can direct themselves to it. Like, unless they have that link, they're not just going to like stumble upon it necessarily from the website. So,
Okay. But
That's my
to answer
recommendation.
the original question, the only way to get there would be going through a quote.
yes, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's no
Like
other,
for
we
me
don't
to
have
delete
any,
the ones that I don't need.
yeah, we don't have any like resources, internal resources section. There is an external resources section. I mean, you can use under company and settings, I believe. But this is also hosted on your website. It's this employee resources link. This would be for your employee side. So I don't even think I'm able to see it. I think only technicians, can only technicians see that? Do you guys know?
What, the resources link?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the technician dashboard up in the
Okay.
like top menu.
So there's an employee one. There is not an internal resources link. Is that what you mean? Like you just want to have it internally saved somewhere within MaidCentral?
No, I was wondering if there was another way for me to pull up all these documents that I ultimately have to delete from customizing them. Or if I had to act like I'm sending out a quote to get to it.
I mean, once you host that PDF on your website and you can use that as a link, anytime.
Right.
You don't need it in a quote.
But what I'm saying is I ultimately need to now delete all these others that have been uploaded.
Why do you need to delete them?
So that ultimately, like you said, I only have those 3 things. I don't have all this other stuff.
Well, that would be for past ones. I would just say change it going forward. I wouldn't worry about deleting them from the past.
But going forward, when I pull up a quote, if I go to attach a document, I have all these documents on there that I've uploaded from the past.
I will probably have to look at this off the call, because I'll need to look into your instance to see exactly what you're talking about, because they shouldn't, if they're not part of your template, you shouldn't have to worry about them anymore.
Even if it's a link?
Correct. By just editing it within an individual quote. Like if I go to send quote here and change something within here, this should not change it for any other future quotes that I send out.
Right, but go to the link. Yeah. And when you hit that upload, that's what I'm asking.
Oh, these don't do anything. You don't need to do anything with any of this.
But if I want to delete all those to only have 3 options.
You can right click and delete.
Right, but is there any other way to get to that besides acting like I'm sending out a quote?
Oh yeah, so that is in any field. So even in the template, if I open up a template well, that was a bad choice. Open up an email template. This link upload is the same list. Every
Okay,
text
gotcha.
box has
So I
the
can
same
get to it
list.
that way.
You
Okay,
can also do it from customers, I don't know, job. This uses the same list as well.
okay. Got
So
it.
yeah, you can right click, delete, cut, copy, rearrange them into folders, all of that from any of the text boxes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Yes, if you delete one of those in there, it's deleted from everything, being able to be used for everything.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
All right, last couple ones. How do you change a payment for a non-paying customer or owner's homes? Do you mean like somebody that has a $0 bill rate, or you're muted?
You're muted.
You're still muted.
Just trying to be respectful.
You're
of course.
good. I appreciate it. I'm
Yeah,
not
this would
mad.
be like for making our houses, we don't pay. So, we had a barter on our previous system. So,
My recommendation is to have it added as a recurring rate mod.
okay.
So there's a couple of options for this. You can either do it individually within the job, or you can create one here that is, so there's actually a couple. You can do a custom one with an amount, or my favorite is actually to create something within quoting and scope. So under your typical house cleaning option,
Okay.
doing a rate modification for, let's see if there's already one in here. There's not, so I'll just create one from scratch. I would call this just like 100% off barter owner or something like that.
Yeah.
And if this is going to be it's not going to be displayed on any of these because it's only going to be used for existing
Okay.
service.
Or can we state it as reoccurring?
Yep. So recurring, and then
Okay.
the percentage is going to be
100%.
100%.
Minus.
It's not included in technician payout because it's not changing the time, and then save it.
So that's a minus 100%.
All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And this one's a routine clean, of course. Oh no, this one's right. So this one will show up here now.
I would have never figured that.
Yeah, I would have never figured that out.
So this is just the way to make it easy, because now it's just going to be on the drop down. So I can just do 100% off. I don't have to change anything and then save it. And it's
Gotcha.
done. And this way, percentage-based rate modifications are soon to be updating based off of price. So like if this person's price is increased on a rate increase, using the rate increase tool, not going forward yet, but soon, very soon, this will update for it so that you don't have to go back and find all of your 100% discount people.
How will that affect QuickBooks? Will it post in QuickBooks?
What it's going to show, I think because it has a 0, it's going to automatically on the invoicing and job records. It's not going to automatically select create an invoice, but you can select it to create an invoice, and then it's just going to show up in QuickBooks as a cleaning line item and then the discount line item at a $0 invoice.
Okay.
So I doubt we'll have any in here, but this create invoice is not automatically selected if the balance or the total on this is 0. But you can always select it and still create an invoice for a $0 balance.
Okay.
Which is how I used to do it, just to keep track of things.
Yeah.
Just to keep better track of it. So anybody who was a barter client or, one of the houses that were cleaned for free, we would still create the invoice just to have a better track of it.
Create an invoice for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Just
is
shows.
good
It's just so you way to keep up with history.
Exactly. This is good for if you do cleaning for a reason as well. We always try to talk about keeping your revenue per job pretty high. So we want to steer away from scheduling $0 jobs. You never want to
Okay.
schedule a $0 job. You want to schedule it for whatever it's supposed to be scheduled for, and then you can mark it down with a rate modification, because there are reports that will and won't show rate modifications, so you can see more accurate results. So I hope that helps. Just a little
Yeah,
pro tip.
I like that rate modification.
Yeah, I do too. Now I'm gonna go. buy
I
it.
cannot bring up for your next question. Sorry, I cannot bring up your iframe because we are recording and
Okay.
and it's being live streamed, so I can't go into anybody's personal instances with everything showing up just because of our own security reasons. But
Can I explain it to you then? A little
yeah,
bit? Okay. So I've got my online set up. So when it comes up with this, but I've got 2 different groups that comes up for my 2 different offices.
okay,
Right? And so when you go in and you select, you enter your name, address, and all that information, and then you push next. You know, on the right side, it's got all the information about everything. Well, this is coming up halfway instead of coming at the top.
so this isn't showing up until down here.
Yeah.
Submit that to support.
Okay. I figured it was
So we can
not
take a
the
look.
soft- might be
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
that
think
it
for
should.
your
go ahead.
personal thing, basically you're putting the iframe onto Maid Brigade's website, right?
Yes.
So I'm not quite sure if it's an HTML thing on the Maid Brigade website side, or if it, maybe our code just needs a little bit of tweaking to be able to fit with that. But
Right.
that is definitely something that we can take a look at.
Okay.
If you want to submit a support ticket with that, we'll be able to look at that.
Okay. I put it on our notes on, I don't know if you saw it, but on the note thing, I put it on there
And
Yeah, I
each,
did. I can submit. Go ahead.
on
Sorry.
the project board.
Mhm.
and each scope group will have a different marketing text, so they won't
Right.
show the same thing.
Yeah,
they're
and they
not
have 2
different.
separate availability calendars too.
Cool.
So,
That should be right. So yeah, if this side text isn't showing up, because it should be pretty frozen on the side.
yeah.
Like this moves first.
Well, it was
So-
working until I added the second scope group, and that's when it started doing that.
Okay, yeah, definitely submit that because that'll be something we want to look
Yeah.
into and test out ourselves as well.
Okay. Do I need to submit our Austin, or are you gonna look at it?
You'll have to do it from your end so that they can see, you'll have the Maid Brigade website and where the target link is going, where the iframe lives.
Well, it's
and
even
all that
doing it if
information.
I preview it on my MaidCentral. When I preview it does it then. So
Yeah, well, it's probably just something with either what you have put into your marketing text. So any pictures, anything that's going to make the box stretch out or anything weird like that.
okay.
So we can just take a look at it. Yeah, I'll take a look at it in
Yeah.
the onboarding project. No problem.
Because it does seem like that box on the side is a little more narrow for some reason than it is, because Angela and Robin both have it out there, and theirs is not as squeezed in as mine is. So there's
Yeah,
something.
we'll have to check it out. Yeah. I'll take a
Okay.
look at it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Next question was not a question, a statement of slashes. Twilio trip charge availability calendar upsells. Yes, ma'am. What are you asking here, Kelly?
All right, I'm trying to integrate the Twilio and it's asking me a list of some odd questions. What do you want to build with Twilio? Minimal code, no code at
No
all?
code.
Okay, what's your preferred coding language? Nothing then?
If you click no code, it shouldn't ask you any of the rest
Okay.
of it.
All right, perfect. So then I'm gonna hit get started with that. Awesome.
Yeah, we can walk through that later. No problem.
And then I was looking at Matt's site, and when he has like the oven and the fridge for the upsells or linen specifically, I guess, it says for the first time only or each visit. How can I get that to change with my upselling?
That should be
modification?
automatic.
Okay, I've never
When
previewed
you're if you're in the scope of work and you're looking at rate modifications, you can choose whether it defaults to one time only or recurring, but they can still choose if it's on a recurring scope of work, it will let you choose on the online quoting whether you want it to be a one-time or recurring basis.
That's just when I set it up, when I hit edit, that'll show me.
It's automatic. So if it's a
Okay.
recurring scope of work, the only thing that you set up is whether you want it to be one time or recurring by default.
Okay.
They will still be able to change whether they want it to be one time or recurring online if it's a recurring scope of work.
Wonderful. Okay, I see right there. And then what if I want to do a trip charge over 15 miles? Where would be the best place to put that in? When
Funny
there's-
story. On Thursday, we'll actually be able to assess fees based on zip code and by zone. So yeah.
Wait,
Well,
I
I
have to
say
wait
Thursday.
one day?
I say Thursday. It might take. It's a huge build. It's a huge build, so it might take a couple days to implement. But in the very, very near future, within the next 4 or 5 days, we should have that functionality available. I'm going to make a nice video, kind of showing you how it all works. But yes, we'll be able to assign some rate modifications that are required for certain zones or zip codes. So
Great, thank you.
Nice.
I'm
What
learning
two
so much about this next build. Sorry. Continue.
quick questions, if you don't mind? If I still have the floor, Austin and I were working on this yesterday. I want the dog, cat, and kid fee just to be like a flat fee on top of it, and it doesn't change no matter if it's weekly, bi-weekly, or every 4 weeks. Is that possible? Because I know we're doing a percentage base, 40% increase if it's every 4 weeks.
So what you can do is it'll be, so like your number of pets, you're actually just going to do, again, the add a fixed rate of time.
Okay.
And you're just going to put, this is why ours is always screwed up, guys. In case you're wondering, this is the reason why.
exactly.
So so I just put in 0 to 15, then they're just adding 5.5 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. So no matter how many they put in here, it's just going to add 30 minutes.
But could I do it like per pet, like for 2 dogs, it's an
So
extra
then
10.
that would actually be a multiply the input by,
Okay.
which is what this was originally set at. And so this is actually adding 5.5 minutes per pet for 0 to 15 pets. So for 1 pet, it's going to be 5.5. For 2 pets, it's going
Got
to be
it.
11,
Okay.
so on and so forth.
Great. Thank you for going over that again. The availability calendar, then when they're ready to book, is based off of like, you have to put in your revenue goals or your scheduling first. I'm not quite sure where to find that. I didn't have that in my notes. And I
Oh, for
can't
the
get my
availability calendar? So that's going to be in your
set up.
scope group. And then under revenue and goals.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Got it.
And then Susan sent me a question. How to easily determine tech's average hours and pay for a period of time. It does, well, let me double check this. So there's not, I don't think there is any report that shows more than 1 week's worth of pay.
Right.
But you would be able to do it over, like you would be able to export this and compile it. So this is the employee weekly pay report. It's kind of a shrunken down form of the payroll summary. But it will just be for each week that is actually closed. But you could export each closed week and then compile them together to get an average pay, hours and pay per person.
You could go to the payroll report and just select a date range of 1 day or 2 days or 3 days if you wanted to see their average pay over a smaller time frame, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or the average for like the previous 8 weeks.
Yeah, something like that would have to be compiled either in QuickBooks, or you could just pull all of the closed payrolls that you have here into a spreadsheet.
Okay.
just-
I mean, you could try to take the payroll, like I haven't done this, so I don't totally recommend it yet because I don't know how it would work. But in the payroll summary, you can select a stupid long period of time.
Their overtime is
And
gonna be,
dividing it by how many weeks you chose.
Yeah, okay.
And that would be a rough estimation per week, I guess. But
Okay.
yeah, if you really want an accurate one, it would just be to grab the week by week and compile it.
How do others do it for, say, if you're basing, PTO, or in this situation, jury duty pay? Because I have to pay for jury duty hours, and I'm averaging her hourly based on the previous 8 weeks.
Yeah, I would just do the I would just go to the employee weekly pay, grab 8 weeks of it. Or you can also do, so this is actually an interesting option. So if you go to payroll summary and you click on that employee,
Mm-hmm.
it will bring up all of their stuff. So you could easily just go, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's this, update it. Here's their hours and gross wages, and just write these down for the 8 weeks for that one
Or
person.
that, or does it happen at the end of the week when I gotta go?
So, it's just for week by week, and I'd have to manually add it then.
Yeah, so I would just my option would be to pull up an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet or something, just put in their total hours and their gross wages
Yeah.
for that week, and then go to the next one. And same thing, total hours, gross wages. Man, he only worked 12 hours and that's nice. Good job, Jennifer. And so on and so forth. But yeah, I would just do that. Just for a one-time thing where you're just having to do it to get that jury duty pay, then yeah, that would be my recommendation, would be to go in from the payroll summary, click on the individual technician that you want, and then just go the 8 weeks that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you so much.
Is there future talk about having the option of translating notes in Spanish? No, at least not that I've heard of in any recent talk. You can use Google Translate for a lot of the page, but notes themselves, I'm not sure how that works. You're muted.
just being respectful.
Respect. I don't know how that would even work or possible, but I've got over 50, 60% of my employees don't speak any English at all, much less read it. So, we just read it out to them. But, if Google can do it, seems like there's a way it could be done somewhere. Not now, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, it definitely, there would be a
Huge.
My brain is whirring around it, and that would be intense.
Yeah.
So the option
It'd
that
be a very heavy lift for sure.
a
But
super heavy lift. So
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
I keep getting hair in my mouth. The best option I have is just plug it into Google Translate, copy and paste it, and have 2 sets of notes for each house.
Yeah. We do that in some cases, but we usually have at least one English speaking on the team, but sometimes I don't. And things are dropped when they can't read the notes. So,
yeah, so that would be my recommendation. And then Google Translate, I still have not figured out how that totally works, but Google Translate can translate a lot of what shows up.
It does a really good job. I mean,
yeah, I just don't know how it works on the notes.
Yeah.
That would be something I would have to look into a
Yeah.
little bit more. And I know I've tried and just got really stuck on it. So
Yeah, very, very time consuming thing to go in there and change do that. But
all right, we've got 2 minutes left and we've got one more question. So when does it start? When does MaidCentral start calculating PTO? It calculates PTO when you close payroll. So if you have PTO stuff set up, once you close payroll, it takes the hours that were clocked or however you're accruing PTO and adds it after payroll is closed. If you pay out PTO, how does that work? So to pay out PTO, the employees are able to put in a PTO request if they have enough PTO on their account. This is under their attendance tab.
Oh, through
So
the calendar, yeah. I mean, through
if
their
they do a new request,
portal.
they're able to say it's paid time off for the day that they're selecting. And then they wouldn't see this, but I'm in the office, so I can see it. So I can see whether cancel, approve, or deny request.
Right.
The employee will see this. So they'll show 52 hours available, and 8 hours of it is pending until it's approved or denied. Once it's approved, they only have 52 hours. That stuff has now been subtracted from their total amount already. And then once that day comes up, we have the paid time off payroll report. And I'm going really fast because we're getting to the end. And now here is where you're able to create the additional pays for that pay period once it's done.
So it takes it immediately when they get approved for a day off and it's PTO. It just zaps them right then.
Yes, it removes it so they can't double request it. They cannot
Okay.
request for that PTO hours more than once. So
That's good to know. I need to let them know.
it subtracts it from them immediately,
Yeah.
and then if it's canceled, it will add it back to it.
Right.
But
It doesn't, yeah, they'll see it distract immediately, but that doesn't mean that it's approved. That just means that they can't double dip on those same PTO hours.
Exactly.
You still have to approve it. Yeah.
Yeah. Once it's approved, it comes off
Permanently. Yeah.
until the payroll's done
And it
and then-
accrues back up. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's fair.
we are at the top of the hour. Do clients see any of the info put into home service info? No, absolutely not.
Not unless they accidentally look at the phone that the technician is using and they happen to be on that page and it's unlocked. So there's a lot of things that would have to happen, but no,
Perfect.
we don't
It's
share
just
any of
double
that.
checking.
Sure.
Yeah. That's everything. So good call, everybody. We'll be back next week for the Q&A call. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And remember to tell me any of your crazy stories next week. Like, write them down. I need to know if crazy things happen in your cleaning service lives because I miss it. Well,
drama.
You don't miss
I
it.
miss-
I wish it
know
was
that-
you. I wish it was you and not me.
I miss
They
hearing
yell at
about
us
it. I don't miss
twice
having to
today.
deal with it.
Just
Exactly.
for
We're
being
into day
15
three
minutes
and
early,
we're
we get yelled at.
All right. Well,
All
have
right,
a
we'll see
wonderful
y'all
day,
later.
guys, and a wonderful
Bye.
week. See you guys later.
Thank
Bye,
you very
everybody.
much.